Let's pick things up there with tonight's Dateline Defense. Joining me tonight, Matthew Brodsky. He's the Director of Policy for the Jewish Policy Center and editor of In Focus Quarterly. Matt, President Obama will visit several cultural and religious sites during his trip. Today, he also toured a missile battery. It's part of Israel's Iron Dome, the defense system that protects them from militant rocket attacks. The U.S. invested hundreds of millions of dollars in the Iron Dome. Which aspect of this trip is the most important?
The aspect of the trip is there's going to be two dimensions to it. The first dimension is what's happening publicly, and that is what we're seeing. So he's going to all these sites, and it reaffirms the bond between Israel and the United States. But most important will be what happens behind the scenes, and in those discussions it will be that they need to get on the same page for Iran and for Syria. This is the most important aspect of the trip. It's not really something that has high expectations as far as anything from the peace process. And the press secretary from the White House was sure to make that point first. But they're going to need to define what prevention means, and that means two separate things for Netanyahu and for Obama.
Now, President Obama made the U.S. relationship with the Muslim world during a priority during his first term. Some critics say he did so at the expense of Israel. What do you think?
I don't think the Israelis minded that he was reaching out to the Muslim world. The manner in which he did it was a little bit backward, and apparently the Muslim world listened to him in Egypt, obviously, and so now there have been what has been called the Arab Spring, and that has clearly resulted in chaos throughout the entire region, and that's the situation that Israel finds itself in right now. I mean, that's why this journey right now is less about Israel and less about Jordan when he visits Jordan, and it's a lot more about Iran and Syria and the Obama administration coming to terms with its leadership role that it's going to need to play in the region, whether it likes to or not.
Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu lavished praise on the president today. He was not so effusive during Obama's first term. Is the turnaround simply good politics or something more?
Well, the timing now is definitely right for him to be in the region, and it's, you know, they both have been through re-election campaigns. They're both with each other, going to be stuck with each other whether they like it or not. So they have to repair what was a frosty relationship, and that's going to be important.
Now, tomorrow the president will speak to university students at the International Convention Center in Jerusalem. It's the centerpiece of his trip. What will he talk about?
It's basically everything that's going to happen in public is going to be talking about how the relationship is great, how the relationship is strong between the two countries. So I don't expect to hear anything major policy-wise. That's all going to happen behind the scenes.
Israel faces major issues right now. We've talked about Iran's nuclear program, negotiations with the Palestinians and settlements in the West Bank. Will this trip produce anything significant, Matt?
If they have understandings behind the scenes, that would be very significant, because figuring out what the pathway forward with Iran is, if the sanctions do not work, is incredibly important. If there's not going to be any major development on the peace process, that is something that's been on the back burner now for a long time, and there's no reason to think anything new is going to come out of that.
Matthew Brodsky with the Jewish Policy Center. Good to have you with us tonight on Capital Insider. Thanks, Matt.
Good to be here.
Syria